Why would anyone choose the man who broke her heart over the one who offered her everything? On paper, it's the easiest decision she'll ever make. Safety, status, unwavering kindness. The rival Alpha provides it all. But she turns her back on perfection, walking straight back to the king who rejected her. The reason isn't in her mind. It's in her blood. A mate bond that defies all reason and a devastating secret the perfect rival is hiding. This is the core engine of the most viral paranormal romance stories today. We're dissecting the irresistible pull of the fated mate versus the logical choice, a battle between primal instinct and conscious reason. Why does the worse option feel so right to millions of readers? And what does the rival's hidden lie reveal about the true nature of love in these fantasy worlds? To understand, we must start at the moment of fracture, the public rejection that sets this entire chain reaction in motion. In these narratives, the heroine often starts from a place of profound vulnerability. She is an orphan, a worker, someone unseen within the rigid hierarchy of her supernatural world. Her value is measured by bloodline and political connection, not merit or heart. This system is designed to keep her in her place, and then the universe intervenes. The catalyst is always the mate bond. It's not mere attraction. In paranormal lore, it's a biological and magical imperative, a cosmic recognition that two souls are mirror halves. For werewolves, it's a scent that overwhelms. For fae, it's a glimmer of magic. For vampires, it's a silent call in the blood. This bond is presented as an absolute, a law of nature stronger than any societal rule. The first major player enters, the Alpha King. He is the apex of this hierarchy. He possesses ancient power, immense wealth, and often a reputation forged in ruthlessness. He is not a Prince Charming. He is a force of nature, brooding, scarred, and emotionally walled off. To the world, he is untouchable. To the heroine, at the moment of recognition, he is her destiny made flesh. And here is the first devastating twist. He rejects her. Publicly, brutally, the rejection is never a quiet dismissal. It is a spectacle. It happens at a pivotal gathering, a solstice gala, a royal summit, a mating run, where every elite member of their society is watching. He speaks the words that sever the sacred bond. He cites her lack of status, her negligible political value, the weakness of her bloodline. He chooses duty or greed or cowardice over destiny. The pain described is not just emotional. It is a physical, magical wound, a tearing in the soul, a bleeding from the nose, a sensation of a vital part being carved away. This is a critical story beat. It viscerally shows the audience the cost of violating a natural law. It makes his betrayal feel like a crime against the very order of their world. The heroine in this moment does not crumble. This is her first true power move. She accepts the rejection with a dignity that shames him. She turns her back and walks away, leaving the glittering crowd in stunned silence. Her silent resilience is the seed of her future strength, but she is now fundamentally adrift. The bond is broken. Her place in the pack is obliterated. She is an outcast. Enter the second major player, the rival Alpha. He arrives in the aftermath, often from a neighboring territory. He is everything the first Alpha is not. Where the king is cold, the rival is warm. Where the king is publicly cruel, the rival is openly kind. He witnesses her humiliation and is disgusted by it. He offers sanctuary, he offers respect. He lavishes her with safety, a secure territory far from her past. He grants her status, a title, a position of real influence, not as a mate initially, but as an honored guest or advisor. He shows her unwavering kindness, listening to her, valuing her mind, and protecting her without demanding anything in return. On paper, he is the perfect choice. He is the logical, healthy, trauma-informed recovery path. And this is where the story could logically end. Girl is hurt by toxic ex, girl meets nicer guy, girl heals and finds happiness. But these stories are not about logic. They are about a primal, addictive, and often terrifying truth. The severed mate bond does not simply disappear. It lingers, it aches, it pulls. Despite the rival's perfection, the heroine feels a hollow echo where the first bond once lived. The rival's castle feels like a gilded cage. His kindness feels like a transaction she cannot repay. Her body, her wolf, her magic, it rejects the peace he offers because it is still screaming for its other half. This is the narrative's justification for the illogical pull backward. The rival Alpha, sensing this resistance, often makes his move. He proposes. He offers a formal political union that would make her his Luna, solidifying her safety and status forever. It is the ultimate security, the ultimate logical choice. And this proposal creates the cliffhanger that ends Act 1. She stands at the precipice. Before her is a future of guaranteed peace, respect, and a love built on kindness. Behind her is a ghost of a bond with a man who shattered her in front of everyone. The entire narrative tension hinges on this impossible choice. But the story whispers a question to the reader. What if the bond isn't just a ghost? What if it's a dormant wire, waiting for a single spark to reignite with catastrophic force? And what if the rival's perfect proposal isn't just an offer of love, but the first move in a hidden game? To understand why she turns away from safety, we must expose the secret mechanics of the mate bond and the darker truth hiding behind the rival's polished smile. The perfect choice is about to reveal its fatal flaw. The flaw is in the very foundation of the rival's offer. He is offering a contract, but the bond she once had and still aches for was a covenant. This is the first key distinction that unravels his perfect image. Act 2 begins not with an explosion, but with a slow, chilling realization. In the safety of the rival's territory, small things begin to feel off. His kindness has a rehearsed quality. His stories of his past pact never include real names, only vague references to loyal beaters or a just father. He deflects questions about his own mate history with a smooth, sad smile and a change of subject. These are the micro cracks in his porcelain perfection. Meanwhile, the ghost of the severed bond refuses to die. For the heroine, it manifests in dreams, vivid sensory replays of the moment she first scented her true mate. The sharp pine, the electric ozone. She wakes with her heart pounding, the rival's comforting scent of sandalwood and sage feeling like a cheap perfume in comparison. Her supernatural side, her wolf, her fey magic, her vampire thirst, becomes restless, even hostile in the rival's presence. It recognizes him as an intruder. This biological rejection is the story's first major evidence that logic cannot override nature. Reader forums dissect this endlessly. They call it the body knowing before the mind. Her very cells are loyal to a bond that was broken, rejecting the substitute. This creates immense internal conflict that the rival, for all his kindness, cannot soothe. And then comes the first concrete clue. It's often delivered by a secondary character, a wise elder, a mistrusted oracle, or a captured enemy from the rival's past. They reveal a piece of forgotten lore. A true mate bond, once recognized, can never be fully severed by words alone. A rejection is a wound, a mutilation, but the connection's roots remain. It lies dormant, waiting for reconciliation or for death. This lore reframes everything. The Alpha King's rejection wasn't an ending. It was a catastrophic injury to a living thing that still exists. The rival proposal, then, isn't just a new path. It's an attempt to graft a new plant onto a poisoned stump. It is biologically, magically doomed to fail. The rival's reaction to her growing distance is the second crack. His warmth begins to thin. A flicker of impatience crosses his face when she questions him. He might gently, but firmly, remind her of the protection he provides, the enemies he shields her from. It's the first hint that his kindness might be conditional, a currency he expects to be repaid with her compliance. The stakes escalate from personal to political. We learn why the rival wants her so specifically. It's rarely just about love. Through intercepted messages or a drunken boast from his beater, the truth emerges. Perhaps the heroine possesses a latent magical power only activated by a true mate bond, a power the rival needs to claim a throne. Maybe her worthless bloodline is actually the last link to a sacred lineage, and marrying her would legitimize his stolen territory. Or most brutally, he knows she is the true mate of his most powerful enemy, the Alpha King, and controlling her is the ultimate strategic move. His proposal was never about her. It was about using her as a key, a shield, or a weapon. This revelation is the major pivot of Act 2A. It reframes every kind gesture, every piece of armor given, every word of comfort. The safety was a cage. The status was a brand. The kindness was a manipulation. The perfect rival is not an alternative hero. He is a more calculating, more patient antagonist. Panicked and betrayed, the heroine confronts him. This confrontation is never a physical battle, she is still weaker. It is a verbal duel where she lays out her evidence. And here, the rival's mask fully slips. The warm smile turns into a cold, calculating smirk. He confirms it all. He might even admire her cleverness. But he then reveals the final, inescapable trap. He will not let her go. He holds not just her, but something or someone she loves hostage, her best friend from her old pack, the orphaned children she protects, the deed to her family's ancestral lands. He reveals the strings attached to every gift, and now he pulls them tight. She can have her logical, safe life as his Luna, or she can be responsible for the destruction of everything else she holds dear. She is trapped. The clock is ticking. The rival's patience has expired, and he sets a deadline for her official answer at a public ceremony, a mating ball, a coronation, where her acceptance will be witnessed and binding. This is the bridge into Act 2b. The heroine is cornered. The Alpha King who rejected her is miles away, likely believing she has moved on. The rival holds all the tangible power. She has uncovered a devastating secret, but that knowledge seems to have only cemented her fate. The audience is now asking, how can she possibly escape this? The logical choice has revealed itself to be a beautifully crafted prison. The only path left is the illogical one, to call out into the void, across the severed bond, and hope the man who once threw her away will somehow hear her scream. Her desperate, silent scream across the bond does not go unanswered, but the response is not a cavalry charge. It's a seismic shockwave of pure, undiluted rage from the Alpha King, a rage that immediately makes her situation infinitely more dangerous. This is the critical nuance. The dormant bond doesn't transmit words, it transmits raw, unfiltered emotion. Her terror, her betrayal, her trapped desperation floods into him like a poison. For the Alpha King, who has been drowning in guilt and a hollow, agonizing silence since his rejection, this surge is a lifeline and a detonator. He now knows she is alive, in pain, and that his worst fears about her disappearance are true, but he doesn't know where she is. The bond is a feeling, not a GPS. His response is catastrophic and immediate. He doesn't mobilize discreetly, he declares war. He marches to the borders of the rival's territory with his entire army. He issues a public, ancient challenge that shakes the foundations of the Supernatural Council. He accuses the rival Alpha of mate theft, a crime punishable by total annihilation. The political stakes explode from a personal conflict into a continent-wide crisis. This is the "it gets even bigger" moment. The heroine's private predicament is now the trigger for a war that will kill thousands. The rival Alpha, cornered by this public accusation, does not back down. He escalates. He parades the heroine before the gathered armies and the council. He presents her not as a prisoner, but as his willing, chosen Luna-to-be. He produces fabricated evidence, love letters in her handwriting, witness testimony from her own friends under compulsion, magical signatures, to prove she left her old life willingly and the bond with the king was a mistake. He frames the Alpha King as an obsessive, violent ex who cannot accept her choice. The court of supernatural public opinion turns against the true mates. The council, fearing war, pressures the heroine to publicly confirm the rival's story to preserve peace. She is trapped on a global stage. If she tells the truth, the rival will execute the hostages he holds. If she lies, she condemns her true mate and legitimizes the rival's claim forever. This is the worst-turn scenario. Her attempt to call for help has handed the rival the perfect weapon, the appearance of her consent. The Alpha King, watching her stand silently beside his enemy, is gutted. He believes, for a terrifying moment, that she has truly chosen the rival. The severed bond, already damaged, floods with his betrayal and agony, which she feels in turn. This mutual, amplified misunderstanding is the rival's masterstroke. But the bond, even broken, cannot lie. In the middle of the public standoff, the king looks into her eyes across the battlefield. He doesn't hear her words. He feels the sheer, screaming contradiction between her calm exterior and the tsunami of fear and love pouring down the bond. He realizes she is acting under duress. His strategy pivots. He stops demanding her return. He challenges the rival to a trial by combat, not for her, but for the truth. If the rival is so confident in her choice, he will fight for it. The rival, now trapped by his own performance of confidence, must accept or be exposed as a coward. The combat is set. The entire supernatural world will watch. The terms: if the king wins, the rival releases the heroine and all hostages and surrenders his territory. If the rival wins, the king will sever the bond magically forever and abdicate his throne. The night before the combat, the heroine is locked away, but the rival visits her. He reveals his final secret, the one that underpins all others. He cannot beat the Alpha King in a fair fight. He never planned to. He shows her a cursed blade, poisoned with a substance that will not just kill the king, but will dissolve the mate bond so completely it will erase her memory of it. She will wake up believing the rival has always been her true love. This is the ultimate violation. He isn't just trying to win her. He is trying to rewrite her soul. He tells her this not to gloat, but to break her. To make her watch the next day knowing her true mate will die and she will be magically manipulated into loving his murderer. She is utterly helpless. The combat begins at dawn. The transition into Act 3, the payoff, is forged in this absolute nadir. The rival has outmaneuvered them at every turn. The king is walking into a poisoned fight. The bond is the only thing left that might cut through the deception, but it is a wounded, screaming thread. The entire narrative now hinges on a single, desperate question. Can a love that was once rejected and is now surrounded by lies and poison find a way to speak louder than any weapon? The final act is not about battle. It's about truth erupting in the one place the rival cannot control. The trial by combat begins not as a fight, but as a performance. The rival Alpha, confident in his poisoned blade, fights with a sleek, defensive style, aiming to land just one scratch. The Alpha King is a whirlwind of brutal, unrelenting offense, but every killing strike is subtly pulled, every movement calculated. He is not trying to win the duel. He is trying to prolong it. He is buying time, and the audience feels it. With every clash of steel, every roar, the severed mate bond between the king and the heroine vibrates like a plucked wire. The king is pouring his intent, his strategy, down that damaged connection. He is showing her his movements, opening his guard deliberately, signaling her. He is fighting two battles at once, one against the rival and one to reforge a line of communication with his mate. The heroine, watching from the sidelines, is not just a spectator. She is receiving this flood of tactical emotion. She sees the moment the rival faints, exposing the hidden, poisoned dagger strapped to his wrist. The king sees it too, but he lets the feint work. He takes a shallow cut on his forearm, a wound that should be minor. Instantly, his aura flickers. The poison works with supernatural speed. His movements slow. His powerful strikes become sluggish. The rival's face breaks into a triumphant smile. The crowd gasps, believing the king is simply tiring. But the heroine feels the truth through the bond, a cold, invasive magic spreading, not just attacking his body, but reaching for the golden thread that connects them. It is trying to unravel her memories. This is the catalyst. The direct attack on the bond itself breaks the magical compulsion the rival had placed on her to remain silent. She feels her past with the king, the good, the bad, the painful rejection being targeted for deletion. The instinct to protect that history, even the painful parts, overrides all fear. She does not scream. She steps forward into the sanctioned combat circle, breaking every law. The guards move to stop her, but a shockwave of pure, defiant mate magic erupts from her, throwing them back. It is the dormant power the rival wanted to steal, activated not by a contract, but by the desperate need to protect her true mate. She points at the rival's dagger. The blade is poisoned with soul rot, she shouts, her voice ringing over the silent field. He doesn't seek a fair victory. He seeks to murder my mate and rewrite my mind. I bear witness. Chaos erupts. The council elders stand. The rival snarls, longing for her to silence her, but the poisoned king, with a final, monumental effort, intercepts him. The fight is over in seconds. The king disarms him, snaps the poisoned blade, and holds the rival at his mercy. But the king does not kill him. He looks to the council. You have heard the testimony. You have seen the cursed weapon. Justice is yours to deliver. The council, exposed for nearly allowing such a foul crime, acts swiftly to save face. The rival Alpha is stripped of his title, his pack, and his power. His mind is probed, revealing the full extent of his manipulations, the kidnapped hostages, the forged evidence, his plan to claim her latent power. His punishment is eternal exile in a desolate, magic-dead realm, a fate worse than death for a supernatural being. The political fallout is immense. The king's territory expands, absorbing the rivals' lands. The hostages are freed. The heroine's standing is transformed from a pawn to a savior, her brave testimony redeeming her in the eyes of the supernatural world. Now the story resolves its core emotional promise, the mate bond. With the rival gone and the truth exposed, the king and heroine are finally alone. The poison in his system is countered, but the wound of his rejection remains. He does not claim her. He kneels before her in front of everyone. He apologizes, not a grand speech, but a raw, simple admission of his cowardice, his blindness, and the unforgivable pain he caused. He offers her not a crown, but a choice. He will spend every day of eternity proving himself worthy of her, but she is free to walk away. The bond, he says, is a gift, not a chain. It is her choice to accept it. This is the ultimate payoff. The Alpha King's evolution from a rejecting, proud ruler to a humble, devoted mate is complete. The heroine, holding all the power, looks at the man who has fought a war for her, who nearly died for her, and who now offers her everything by offering her nothing but his true self. She reaches out, she touches his face, and as her skin meets his, the severed bond does not just heal, it transforms. It reignites as something stronger, forged in trial and choice, not just fate. The magical glow that surrounds them is witnessed by all, a public, undeniable affirmation of their true mate status. The final, surprising detail comes in the aftermath. Often, it's revealed that the supernatural council itself, or an ancient entity, subtly orchestrated the entire crisis. Why? Because a mate bond that survives rejection, manipulation, and war is exponentially more powerful. It creates a new tier of ruling pair, one whose combined power can bring stability to the entire supernatural world. The rivals, the conflicts, were all a brutal but necessary crucible to forge the ultimate ruling couple. The personal and political arcs are now closed. The heroine is no longer the unranked orphan. She is the queen who stood her ground. The Alpha King is no longer the untouchable tyrant. He is the king who kneels. Together, they rule not through fear, but through the unbreakable strength of a bond that was tested, broken, and remade by choice. This resolution hands off perfectly to the final outro. The story's end provides the ultimate answer to the Hook's provocative question. She chose the man who broke her heart because their connection was a living, resilient force that could survive even his failure. She rejected the perfect rival because his love was a lie, a beautiful trap. The narrative justifies the illogical, satisfying the deep, primal fantasy that true love is not just about finding a good partner, but about recognizing and fighting for the one who is irrevocably, magically yours. So why does this specific, emotionally brutal storyline captivate millions? The answer lies in the powerful fantasy it sells, that true love is not a sensible partnership, but a fundamental, disruptive force of nature. It reassures us that the deepest connections are not logical. They are primal. They defy social climbing, political advantage, and even basic self-preservation. The fated mate trope, at its core, is about destiny being stronger than choice, and then, in a beautiful paradox, about choice reaffirming destiny. The heroine's ultimate power is not in accepting the bond, but in choosing to heal it after it's been broken. This narrative also serves as a stark commentary on modern dating. The rival alpha represents the checklist partner, stable, kind, says all the right things. The Alpha King represents the messy, painful, all-consuming connection that logic says to avoid, but the soul cannot escape. The story validates the terrifying, irresistible pull of the latter. It tells readers that yearning for a love that dismantles you is not pathological. It might be your supernatural birthright. Furthermore, it provides a safe space to explore themes of forgiveness and toxic redemption. In reality, a partner who publicly rejects you is not a project. In fantasy, his journey to atonement, his willingness to go to war and kneel, can be crafted into the ultimate romantic grand gesture. It allows readers to experience the fantasy of being so profoundly valuable that a powerful being would burn his world to ash for a chance to earn you back. The viral engine is the debate itself. The comments section becomes a battleground between Team Logic and Team Primal. Some readers passionately argue the heroine is a fool for ever looking back, a victim of supernatural trauma bonding. Others champion the epic, transformative power of a love that survives its own destruction. This debate is the algorithm's fuel, proving the story has tapped into a profound cultural nerve. In the end, these stories work because they are not really about choosing the worst man. They are about the transformative journey of both characters. The Alpha King must evolve from a ruler of land to a servant of love. The heroine must grow from someone defined by her lack of status to a queen who commands respect through her resilience and truth. The rival's hidden secret is the catalyst that forces both transformations to their peak. The perfect logical choice is revealed to be a beautiful cage. The painful, illogical bond is revealed to be a path to genuine power. That is the irresistible, viral heart of the fantasy. If this deep dive into the mechanics of obsession, destiny, and narrative payoff hooked you, do us a huge favor. Smash that like button to let the algorithm know these are the stories you want more of. Share this video with your book club or your online reading tribe and spark the debate. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell. We break down the tropes, the psychology, and the secret structures behind the stories you can't stop reading. Let us know in the comments below, are you Team Primal Bond or Team Logical Choice? We'll see you in the next story.